Hey guys, welcome back to the next part of our art journal slash junk journal slash whatever journal you're making. We're going to be doing some background pages and we're going to start getting this journal put together here. And I apologize now, my cat is having the zoomies and I have to record this downstairs. We have a guest, overnight guest, and I cannot be recording this upstairs in the extra room. So yeah, the cat has the zoomies right now. So remember, we went back and we made our plan for our journal. Now, we may or may not stick to this plan 100%. I'm not sure yet. It's just going to depend on the mood and how it strikes me. I made a few notes on the side of the plan as well. But there are some things that I want to include in the journal, and it's just nice to have it written down so I don't get too caught up with creating and forget, oh, I wanted this page to be this, and I wanted a page like this. So that when we're making our backgrounds and we're putting paint and things collage in, that I'm not making something that I have to either scrap or cut up or mess up later on. So we know that our first page is going to be a single flip out, so we don't have to worry about the first few pages. It's only when we start getting into like the pockets and the Dutch doors and stuff like that where we have to really think about what we're putting on that page for a background. So I'm going to flip your view down to my worktop and let's get started. Okay, here we are. So we've got all of our supplies, or at least most of the supplies I think that I'm going to be using. I've got some mark making items over here for making marks. I have a toilet paper roll for making circles. I have a piece of cut pool noodle for making texture. And you can make texture this way. You can make texture like stamping, that kind of thing. Same thing with this. You can make thin circles. You can roll it on. And I also have these pages that I had showed you before from this book that I got at the thrift shop for 58 cents. It was marked down to. And I've just done some background pages for previous collage fodder. I don't know if I'm going to use any of this in my current journal. This is just some backup stuff I like to have for whenever I'm cutting, gluing, that kind of thing. So I think we may be tearing out some other pages to use in this book. Don't forget, for making background pages, I have my Garden of Plants encyclopedia, Planter's encyclopedia for background. We can cut some of these things out or tear some of these things out. I prefer to tear. I don't necessarily like clean edges. I think it's too hard to make those edges soften. So I usually just tear, hand rip things. So we'll be using some of that for background pages as well. And also I have this Kendra Norton reverse coloring book that's like watercolor pages that I can use for backgrounds. We are probably going to do 1 or 2 examples of this in another video of how to make these kind of backgrounds for yourself on just some plain copy paper to use in your journals. I'm not going to do a bunch of these pages because I want them to be more thought out than just tearing from here. But this is just something, if you have something like this, you can use it. And then we have our furniture book that this will be more of a top layer. These I won't get into too much today because these would be more of a top layer if I use them at all in this journal. This might not be a journal that I use them in. Just something to give you ideas. These two are probably going to be used the least in this journal. So just so you know, you can use a lot of different things. So I've got my paints. Remember we talked about your cools over here and then your warms over here. We're going to be doing some of each, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I want this journal to be half and half. Maybe start with the warms and then work our way to the cools, or if I want to just have an overall color theme for the journal. It is a blue cover, but I think I'm going to end up painting this whole thing black with the acrylic paint and doing something on my own. The cover is probably something we'll do last. I'm not going to worry about that because I really got to think about it. Remember, some other things we can use in our backgrounds are some of the circles. Hopefully you've been cutting out or punching out circles from magazine pages, book pages, junk mail that you get in flyers, ads, whatever. But circles are a good thing to add in when you don't know what to put in maybe a corner or something. These are a good thing to just kind of throw on your background to kind of give it a little zhuzhin up. I don't know. Back to mark making. We also have our tried and true piece of saran wrap. And this is the only piece that I have. So I'm going to be using it and cleaning it. And then we have our piece of mesh bag from the tangerines or cuties, however you call them. So I think I might separate this because it's going to be easier to work with it because I don't want this. I want the mesh bag. So I'm going to separate this and come back. So I did get it separated. As you can see, there's still little pieces of the bag kind of on there, but I don't want to rip it up too bad. So this is kind of sewn on, so I just left that on and cut the top part off. So there's enough mesh there for me if I want to lay it down on my page and kind of sponge paint some paint on top of it to get that texture. So we're going to be good to go there. Also, I don't want us to forget that we tore the pages out of the book that we're going to be using for pockets and flips and stuff like that. So we don't want to forget those when we're making our backgrounds, because those are going to be part of our backgrounds. And I need to figure out what pages are going to be flips, what pages are going to be, because I'll need to add on to the end for the flip pages. That means that's going to require some gluing and whatnot. Now, I don't know, comment and let me know, did you glue yours with wet glue or glue stick? Now, remember, I did the first several pages of mine with wet glue, and as you can see, they're still not like flat and smooth. Not happy about that. And then I used glue stick back here, and these pages look just beautiful. So let me know what you did for yours and how your pages are looking. Not real happy with this warped look here. You can tell the difference. See how they puffied up? And I let them dry overnight. I didn't use the heat gun. Usually the heat gun will do this, but I let them dry overnight. I didn't use the heat gun, so I don't know why they puffed up like this. Maybe my glue was too watery. I don't know. But I do prefer the glue stick. It lays much flatter. So these pages are going to start out with a bit of a bend already in them, unfortunately. So we won't worry about that. We won't worry about it. Because when it's all said and done, we're going to probably put something heavy on top of it when we're all done with it to keep it flat. While I'm talking about these pages here, I think I'm going to glue a few of the nicer ones that ripped out together, because I know I'm going to have some flips. The ones that have these chopped off edge here, I'm going to just put to the side. The ones that are whole, I'm going to, not this one because it's too hard to cover a big picture like that. So we're going to move those to the side. But there are a few that tore out pretty well that I know I'm going to have for flips. So because I don't want to have to piecemeal my flips, you know, figure out how to cover up a bad spot on a flip. I want my flips to be whole pages. Pockets and stuff can be, you know, because you're going to cut those anyway. So let's go ahead and get these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 page spreads glued together. And remember, they're spreads because when we tore them out of our sewn journal, they have that center seam in them. So we're going to get them glued together because they're going to be flips. Flip outs, they're going to be flip ups. We're going to have some flip downs as well. So let me go ahead and get all of these pages glued together, sandwiched together. Okay, let's get into some creating. I think we are going to start with pool palette first. So this background making is going to be several videos. I don't want each video to be too long. So we are definitely going to, I need to open this black. The white is already open. So we're going to do our cool palette first. And just in case, let's open the silver and the gold. I don't know if we're going to get into the silver and gold this time around, but... And I realized after I bought these that these were gloss and my rest of my paints were matte. And I didn't get back to taking them back, but we're going to see what happens. I'm not going to worry about it. It's either going to work or it ain't, right? And then a white. Put the glue stick away. I don't think I'm going to be gluing right now. So for now, we're going to be doing our cool palette, which is our blue and yellow. And we're going to add in black and white as we see fit. Okay, so that's what my palette is looking like. This I also found so we can make, I don't know why, but circles are a thing for me. So we're probably going to end up making quite a few circles. We'll make some other stuff, but I feel like circles are they're easy, they're fun, you can find them around the house much quicker and easier, I think. So we're going to get our book, where'd I move? Oh, here, it's under here. I had to break out my fan because I was getting hot. So I have my little baby fan over there. I did get my pages glued together. So now we have pages ready to go from when we start doing our flips. Here's our book. So for me, I'm going to probably use the heat gun to dry my pages in between. Hopefully they won't bubble too much because I know sometimes acrylic paint can bubble, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to do multiple pages in one video because I have to wait overnight or a few hours for them to dry. So we're going to try and get this first layout done. And I know that this page was supposed to be a flip, so I'm hoping to get this done and dried and then add our page for our first flip. So I'm hoping to get that at least that much done. As a matter of fact, why don't we add our page now before this gets wet with any kind of paint or background stuff on it. So I think what I'm going to do, and I haven't tried this before, I've used masking tape and I forgot to get masking tape. We're going to try this painter's tape, but I think I'm going to cut it down so it's slimmer. It's definitely too wide. I prefer masking tape because it's easier to cover the color of masking tape than it is this blue from the painter's tape. So we're going to do, all right, let's try this again. I probably should glue it, but I think we're going to try the tape. If it doesn't work, then I'll go back with glue. All right. And I really only want no more than 1 inch wide of tape, so I definitely have to go get some masking tape. So we're going to cut this down a little bit. There we go. So I'm just cutting this down, the width of it down some. If you have 1 inch or 1/2 inch tape, then by all means use that. And I'm going to save this piece over here, stick it on the edge of my desk. That way I can use it for another flip page that we're eventually going to have. Okay, so now I'm going to take this flip page, and I think this is the page, this is how it opened. And I think this is the part I'm going to put down so that this edge, because it was previously bound, I think it's going to probably stay connected better than these two separate pages, because I did put glue in that crevice there. So let's go ahead. And I think I'm going to leave just the tiniest bit showing. for flipping. Actually, let's use that other piece here. Now that means I have to cover blue tape on both sides, but that's okay. We're not going to worry about it. It will work. So now we have our first flip in our book, okay? That's our first flip. And we'll either cover this with collage, paint, something. You won't see that blue piece of tape. Okay. First flip out. That'll give us a long spread when we get to that page. So there we go. So for now, we're going to work here, and I want to kind of put something here so that paint doesn't ooze onto these pages. So I'm going to go grab some bag from the cereal. So if you are a big cereal eater, then you can go ahead and take a bag from cereal. You can take some plastic wrap. You can take some wax paper, parchment paper, whatever you have to kind of protect your pages. So this was a jumbo bag of cereal, and all I did was take the bag, I slid it all the way around the four corners, or the three corners, because one side was already open for pouring out, and then I washed it and let it air dry. Don't think I need a whole sheet. I think I can do this paint over. Put the paint over here. Actually, let's put the paint here so you can see what I'm doing when I mix. Okay. And I'm just going to keep that in so that any paint doesn't go over the edges onto the other page. So that's what we're doing there. All right. So first thing I want to do is I'm going to do a light layer of white to kind of knock back this print. Actually, let's spray a little bit here. Is this on spray? Yeah. Let's ever so slightly dampen that page. There we go. And then I'm just going to take my white to get rid of some of this print. It may not disappear completely, and that's okay, but I don't want to be able to read it. I don't want it to be legible. And I really should have put gloves on. Let me go grab my gloves because I hate having to wash all this paint off my hands. All right, got the gloves. Another reason I like to wear gloves too is sometimes I end up using my fingers, finger painting for backgrounds. So I just want to make sure. And we do want a pocket on this side, but it's fine. We're going to, so that everything looks cohesive, I'm going to put a little white on this side too. Otherwise, the color's going to look different on top of this white than on top of this paper with no white. And that's just my water. I do have some water over there. Just a glass of water or a jar of water. All right, so I think the first thing I want to try is, let's get a little yellow and some blue. And I know that makes green, but I don't want a green. I almost want a teal color. If we can finagle it. It's looking a little teal to me. Water. It's looking like a nice dark teal. Let's see what we can do with, let's try this first. I'm not going to do too much on this bottom. I forgot we're going to do a pocket here, so. Okay, so that's that. All right, so I've got 4 of those on each with the sage green that I made. Okay, so I'm hoping that you are understanding kind of what we're doing. I'm going to work with you slowly on this series so that you can build your own art journal or junk journal or writing diary, whatever you choose to use yours for in the end. Mine's going to be leaning more towards an art journal, but I will talk about how you can make journaling cards to put in your pockets so that you can write on them, which I won't be necessarily putting journaling cards in mine. I may put a few here and there. Mine's mostly going to be an art journal for me to do some art in later. And you can do all that in the pockets, in the belly bands, in the tuck pockets. You can always put big journaling cards and small journaling cards for you to actually write as if it were a journal or a diary. I hope you are enjoying this series. I hope you found your book and you are working alongside me. So I'll see you on the next video in our series, and I'm so excited to see what we create together. Don't forget to be good to yourself, kind to others, and whatever your journey, enjoy it.